Hi friends, how are you? Thanks for joining me today. I need you to do me a favor and tell me if you can hear me and if you can see me well. I'm trying a new setup. So my light wasn't working last time. So this time we have a camera, like a very fancy camera hooked up to my computer and this microphone. So hey Dusty, hey friends. And I'm on my computer rather than my phone. Okay, hi guys. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna maneuver my screen a little bit here so I can see everything. Oh, this is so great. So I can actually see your comments without having to squint at my phone now. Thank you for joining me. How are you guys? Happy Tuesday. It's been one of those mornings around here. Motherhood is really fun, especially when you have 3 kids under the age of 6. Although it wasn't the 6-year-old this morning, it was 2 2-year-olds. So, but we're here. Everyone is well. They're at school. And without a doubt, every single time I do one of these, there's somebody outside my window cutting grass. So we're just going to go with it. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited to dig into this stuff today. And just really excited for this workshop in general. Last time, I basically told you all about my new book, A Simplified Life, and the heart behind it and why I wrote it and why I think that this content is important. And so if you missed that one, go back and watch it. But today's one, we're really going to dig in to the good stuff. So before I get started, a couple of housekeeping things. If at any point you have to hop off, or if you miss part of this, you can watch the recording here on Facebook later, and you can also watch it over on our YouTube channel later. We'll be posting it there as well. And if you're on our newsletter list, we will be emailing it out to you at noon today. So make sure you're on that list and you'll get it, and you can keep it, save it, forward it around, whatever you like. So today we're going to be talking about simplifying your home, which is really, really big. And I feel like I could spend about 6 hours talking about this topic. We're going to dig into it, but let me just tell you, it gets really in depth in the book. It's chapter 1, because I think that it is really foundational, and it sets really just the tone for the journey when you try to simplify the rest of your life. If your home, no matter the size or shape of your house or your family, is in disarray, the rest of your life is going to feel that way too. And there's just no other way to say that. So I'm going to be bold with you guys and blunt, and I'm going to tell you what I've learned. I'm going to tell you what I've learned that works for me. So I hope that you will take some of the pieces that we talk about today and implement them in your own lives. The whole point here is that this process of simplifying is very worthy. It's very important, not just to our own well-being and sanity, but to the people who live in our homes. I've learned through doing this whole process over the last year or two that they benefit, especially my kids benefit so much from living in a home that is simplified, that's decluttered, that has routines that work and tools that work in it as well. So I want you to believe in this before you get started, and I want you to get excited and know that this is the hardest part, is simplifying your home, the absolute hardest part. And we're starting there because I know you can do hard things, because I've done it, and because it's a marathon, okay? So it's going to take a while. So we might start this one today, and there's going to be a lot of actionable steps you can take away and implement right away, but there's also going to be some things that are going to take a while. And I'll be honest, it might take a long time. I feel like I'm still going through the process in my own house of just getting rid of so much clutter. So there's those things. A couple of notes for upcoming weeks. On October 17th, I've not shared this yet. I actually just got this confirmed. We're going to be talking about simple beauty routines. So we all kind of giggle like, oh, that'll be fun. But like, it's important. When you get dressed in the morning, you want to feel good about what you're wearing, and you want the decision-making process to be easy and affirming and not make you feel less than. The process should also be quick, because we all have so many things to do in the morning. So my very favorite person, Kate Bryan from the Small Things blog, is a dear friend of mine, and she's actually going to join me live here on Facebook Live. I'm going to figure out how to do it where her face is right next to my face, even though we're not in the same city. But she's going to be talking to us about simplifying your beauty routine in the morning. So hair, makeup, all the fun things. The following week, the 24th, I'm going to have Lisa Leek from 100 Days of Real Food, who I love. She basically taught me how to cook through her cookbooks. Lisa is going to be joining me to talk about simplifying meal planning. So if you guys have questions for them, hold on to them and, sorry, my phone's ringing. Hold on to them and be sure to watch those live, because you'll be able to ask those questions at the end of those. So today I'm going to try to get through this content in about 30 minutes. I know you guys are all busy and you're going to want to like run and tackle some of this stuff. And then I'm going to save a few minutes at the end for Q&A. So Dusty and Hannah from my team are here on Facebook Live with me, watching your comments and grabbing questions. So if you have questions, feel free to post them as we go. I won't be able to get to them in the middle of things, but we'll get to them at the end of today. Okay, simplifying your house. Why is it important? When you look around your house, when you walk into your home, I want you guys to participate here. So you're gonna have to answer me in the comments, and I'm gonna be reading them, okay? When you walk in your house, how do you feel? Like right now. And your answer may be, at home, I feel welcomed. I feel at peace. I feel like I can go sit down and rest. I feel overwhelmed. Let me know in the comments how you feel when you walk in your house. Because I think what we have to do when it comes to organizing our home is address a couple of hurt things first and then talk about the tactical. So when you walk in your house, do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel like, oh my goodness, look at all that mail on the counter. I need to go do something with it. Oh my goodness, the laundry. Okay, I just got home from like a really busy day at work and the laundry is piling up. Oh my goodness, why is there so much stuff on the floor? If you're walking into your house and you're feeling completely overwhelmed, then that means that something needs to change. I really believe that our homes should be places of rest, of respite, of peace, places where we can escape what's going on in the world. And guys, there are so many things going on in the world right now. I don't even know which way to look. I don't even know which way is up. And it's overwhelming. So I want to walk into my home and I want to feel like a breath of fresh air. I want to feel like, okay, my space, my things, my treasures, my people, my food, my comfy clothes. I just want to feel that way when I walk into it. And I see a lot of you guys are saying, overwhelmed, a little stuffy, imprisoned by baby gates. Yeah, girl, I know. Stressed because we have so much stuff. I feel at peace, but also feel cluttered. I feel like it's clean, but I need to add a little more life and creative personality to it. You guys these are so good. And I totally agree with you. At this point in time, when I walk in my house, I feel happy. Like I feel like energized by the things on the walls and the treasures on the shelves. But I also feel like, oh my goodness, there's so many things in this house that are always out of place, like on the floor or on the stairs or on the kitchen counter. We have this big, beautiful kitchen island. And sometimes I wish the kitchen island was smaller because it would collect less things every day. But there's just stuff. There's stuff. I feel grateful for this home. We built this house and I love it. But I also feel like, you know, I feel like it gets a little loud in here with lots of children. And so we've been working really hard to implement some good routines. So not just with physical stuff, but like with the routines of your home. My house right now feels really loud. Not at this second because everyone's at school, but usually my house feels really loud. And so we've been working really hard to get a handle on that. Hey, Leah. So basically, when I started this process of writing this book, I started writing it this past January. And I had the luxury of taking a couple of days to dig in. So it wasn't writing. I was basically taking a clipboard around with me in my house and I was digging in. Because when we moved into this home, we had 2 6-month-olds. So there was no like decluttering or getting rid of things, you know, as we were moving. It was like throw all the things in a box and get to the new house. So I had to go through and like, I dug out boxes of books and boxes of old t-shirts and boxes of things and started digging through all the items in my house. And all this like emotion welled up in me of like guilt. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Like, you're like, I have every good intention of decluttering, but I feel really bad that I bought these pair of pants that I don't actually like. And so maybe I should keep them because maybe I'll wear them one day and I won't feel guilty. And so then it just turns into clutter. So one of the first things I'm going to tell you is that we have to address the emotional part of decluttering. And I really firmly believe you have to rip the Band-Aid. And that means if it's not good for you, it's not going to be good for you. So give it away, throw it away, do whatever you got to do. Obviously, when it comes to clothes, give it away because there are people who obviously can use and need it. But as you're starting to do that, you might have these feelings of like, oh, look, I'm in my closet and I could really use like a basket for all of my hats. Oh my goodness, my husband has so many hats. It's ridiculous. Every time he buys a new hat, I'm like, can you please get rid of one hat? But you might feel these things of like, oh, you know, I saw this really pretty way of organizing hats on Pinterest. And so maybe I need these really fancy baskets that we can color code. And your mind starts going down this rabbit hole of like, I need things, I don't have enough, when we're actually addressing the fact that you have too much. So I want you to promise me as you go through, especially this part of the simplifying process, that you will not spend $1. Say it, I promise. People in the comments, okay? This is tough love. You do not spend $1. Do not buy a box. Do not buy a basket. Do not buy any labels. Do not buy any Sharpies. Do not buy anything. A planner. Maybe a planner. I'm just kidding. Seriously, don't buy a thing. You do not need any single thing to organize your house, okay? Now, if you find yourself coming upon a place like hats where you're like, you know what? I could really use a basket for these hats, and I'm a big fan of large baskets and bins to catch all the things. I want you to write it down. So there's actually a place in the book. I don't actually know where it is. I didn't really bookmark it. It just came to me a second ago. There is a place where you start. Here it is. So your ruthless home clean out, okay? So this is page 23. This is within the Simplified Space chapter. This is where you write down what you need as you're going through the process of simplifying your home, okay? This is where you write down, I need a basket for hats. You know what? It would be great if I had some organizers for my kitchen utensil drawers because they're a disaster. Every time my mom comes to my house, she organizes my kitchen drawers. And I finally bought some dividers. But as you come across those things, write them down. And here is why it's important to write them down and not go buy the stuff. Because as you're cleaning out your house, you're going to be like in your guest room closet and you're going to say, what is this large basket that I have sitting here with no purpose? Oh, look at my list. I should put hats in it, okay? So give yourself, like, save the money and wait until you get all the way to the end and say, okay, I did not find drawer dividers as I was cleaning out. I did not find a hat. I did not find a box large enough for organizing all of our travel accessories, whatever. Then you can address those needs, okay? And I'll give you some advice as we get to the end of this thing of where to get those things and not break the bank. But I think that that's super, super important. So don't spend any money until you get to the end of this. Okay. Now, yesterday I posted something to Instagram that now that I have my phone right here and I'm not talking into it, I'm going to read to you. And I loved this. When I started writing A Simplified Life, this really meant a lot to me and really runs through the theme of the entire book. Homemaking is a word that has fallen out of fashion, right? So a lot of us will think of homemaking and we'll think of Mrs. Cleaver in her apron waiting for her husband to come home, forever in an apron in the kitchen. And for some of us, that isn't necessarily what we want for our lives. For some it might be, but for some it isn't. And so I want to shake up the definition of homemaking and frame it in a way that we can really, really embrace it and start to think about not just household chores, but organizing our homes in the same way, in a new way. So homemaking is actually defined as the creation and management of a home, especially as a pleasant place in which to live. So when I read that, I was like, this isn't really what I thought the definition of homemaking or even homekeeping was. I thought it was a whole lot different than that. But I can get behind that a lot. I really, really believe in creating and managing a home as a pleasant place in which to live. And so that's what we're doing here. We're not just organizing our homes to take really pretty Instagram pictures or to post things on Pinterest or to impress people that come over. It is so when we walk in our homes, when our children live in our homes, when our husbands or spouses or whomever is in our homes, we feel peaceful and we feel calm. In this place, these four walls, no matter what your four walls look like, feel like a place to rest and to get away. So there are 3 steps to this process of simplifying your home that actually apply to every other area that we address in the book and in life as well. And that is to first declutter, okay? The enemy of simplicity is clutter. Write that down. The enemy of simplicity is clutter. And that means simplifying your schedule. The enemy is clutter on your calendar. Simplifying self-care and your heart and the way you're feeling. The enemy is clutter, right? In your heart. Simplifying your home. The enemy is clutter. And so the first thing we have to do when we look at simplifying our homes or organizing our homes is to declutter. And very tactically, I'm going to tell you what that means. It means getting a box of trash bags, not just to trash things, but to start to sort things. So let's take, for instance, I think the first place I started when I did this in January was our master bedroom closet, because I knew it was going to be hard. And I also knew I was going to have to strong arm Mr. Brian Lay into helping me and into getting rid of some things. And he's a very willing and loving participant, but you know what I mean. So started in the master closet. Take 1 trash bag to start for trash, for things that are torn, are ripped, could not be used by another person. Trash goes in the trash bag. And of course, when you're in your closet, you find things like dry cleaner hangers that are all bent up, or papers from, my husband cannot throw away the papers from the dry cleaner, like the plastic bags that come off of them. So I'm forever picking those up. So that kind of trash, throw it in the trash bag. Then you have another bag for donating, and you're going to put in anything that is not well loved, fits well, and your favorite. Okay. Yes, I realize that might mean as you're organizing your home, especially in your closet, that you're left with not a ton. But the point here is to shave off the minutes it takes you to make decisions. And like when you're choosing your clothes, or when you're choosing kitchen utensils, or when you're, getting your kids ready for school, or cleaning the house and, all your cleaning supplies, if you are able to walk into a space and see just what you need, or just your favorites, and that makes the time it takes to do those things so much shorter. So again, trash some things, give some things away, and be ruthless about it. Forgive yourself for the fact that you bought those pair of pants a million years ago and they don't fit you anymore, and you don't really think you're gonna fit them again. It's okay. Let it go. I always like to say Olaf said it best. Let it go, right? Or maybe that wasn't Olaf. Maybe that was the princess. It was princess also. Caroline would know, but I don't. So let it go, give it away, get rid of it, and forgive yourself for that. My mom always tells me this story that when I was like 5 or 6 years old, somebody said to my mom, "Why do you help Emily clean her room?" Because my mom would make a big deal about cleaning my room. She would make it fun. She would make it like an event. I would have lunchbox notes for like days leading up to this, where she would be like, "Saturday is the day, we're going to clean your room. We're going to go have breakfast. And then we're going to, dive into your room, and we're going to clean it out and organize it and make it, feel like you." And she got me excited about it. And she answered that question when someone said, "Why do you do this with Emily?" She said, "Because kids and people in general, like you and me, aren't born knowing how to do that. We're not born knowing how to clean out things or how to organize, especially how to organize. But we're not born just innately knowing how to clean out things." And so I hope that this information is useful to you. You probably already know most of it, but the tactical parts of actually organizing, of giving yourself the permission to ruthlessly clean your house out, it's really going to make your house feel more like a home. I can say that when I went through this process and I decluttered a ton, I still have a ways to go, but when I decluttered a ton of our house, I immediately felt like this weight lifted off my shoulders. that there was so much less to think about because there was less things to be out of place. There was less things to be distracting. There was less things to remind me of, oh, I shouldn't have bought that. Oh, I got to do something with that. What am I going to do with you? Where do you go? Why are you over there? You know, there was just less stuff. And so there was less stuff in here. And I also found that this works with my kids. I will say, and I wrote about this in the motherhood chapter of this book, I got rid of about 75% of the toys in our house. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of toys. I did it when my kids were at school. I kept their absolute favorite things, but I got rid of a lot of like the little plastic, you know what I'm talking about, stuff that just floats around everywhere. Ask me if they noticed. No, they didn't notice at all. Not at all. I still don't think they know that stuff is gone. And I donated it to a great organization. It went to a good new home, but guess what? The mess in my house is so much better. So now we have like large bins for books and large bins for coloring supplies and a large bin for plastic balls and things to throw outside, a large bin for dolls and things like that. It's really, really, really made a difference in my house and in just the way we feel living in it. Obviously, they still make a mess. They still dump all the things out and make a huge disastrous mess, but it's so much easier to clean up because there's just less of it, right? And I've also found that for me, in terms of simplifying, I just need less decisions to make. And I found that that really plays a part with my kids too. They don't need to choose from 17,000 toys. They just don't. But when you put 2 or 3 or 4 out for them, we store a ton of our toys in our guest room closet in these really big, like Rubbermaid bin things. We kind of like rotate them out. When you put just a couple things in front of them, they're less likely to be completely and totally overwhelmed too. And that is just really, 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 really nice. Okay, so one thing I want to say as well is to avoid the pitfalls of over-organizing. So as you're going through, now let's say you're in your kitchen, okay? And you have a kitchen utensil drawer, you know, where you store like your spatulas and your whisks. I don't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I don't even know what they're called. But when you're in there and you want to organize this drawer, the way to do it is to take the drawer itself, empty it completely, get it completely empty. Same can be said for closets. Take everything out, okay? You have a box you need to organize or a bin or somebody's room or a dresser, get all the things out. So you have a completely clean slate with nothing in it, nothing on it, nothing touching it, nothing. It is completely clean. Yes, you have a disastrous mess over here, but it's fine. Then you're gonna go through all of those things one by one. And you're gonna pick up all the things and you're gonna say, is this something that I love? Is this something that I treasure? Is this something I want to keep forever? Or is it broken? Is it trash? Does it not fit? Does it make me feel completely and totally guilty because I never use it and I bought it for $1 zillion? Whatever. Rip the Band-Aid, give it to someone who can use it better than you can. Then you take those treasures and you put them back. Then you organize, okay? Trying to organize a junk drawer or a kitchen drawer full of like 75 whisks and spatulas is a horrible idea because you're basically chasing your tail, right? You're trying to like dig over here and find things to get rid of and like dig over here and find things to get rid of, and you're not paying attention to each and every single item. I can say that in January when I did this in my house, I touched every single thing in my house and made a decision about every single item and whether or not it was going to stay. And that's something, like I said, that my mom taught me as a little girl. Like, you have to look at every single one of these things and make a decision about whether or not you're going to keep it. And don't rush. Like, if you rush, the only person you're hurting is yourself, and you're sabotaging your whole simplification process. Give yourself the time. If you have to stop or you need to take a break, that's fine. Just kind of set things aside, and you're going to have to live in the in-between for a while, but that's totally fine. Also, be sure to have a place that serves as a catch-all. So ideally, this would be a room with a door, a bedroom or a guest room or a closet or something where you can say, this isn't trash, so I'm not throwing away, but this is stuff that I'm donating. And like 99% of what you have, you can probably donate to a good cause. So take those things and set them aside. We used our guest room and it was a disaster. And I piled all the things in there in bags. Actually, I don't even think I bagged it. I think I skipped that step. I would just set things in there over and over and over until it just started to look like a mountain of things that was clutter. And, you know, I remember standing in the doorway one day and saying, oh my goodness, look at all the money wasted, number one, on random white figurine ceramic things from Target. Look at all of the clothes that I've bought that are like from great brands and great stores, but like I didn't need them. They weren't my favorite. And it started to make me like do a little introspection on the way I was spending money, because there was just stuff. And some of it was recent purchases too. So once we had all the stuff in the guest room, we bagged it up together. And there are actually organizations like Salvation Army that if you're in a particular area where they do this, they will come and pick things up. And so we would schedule pickups and they would come and pick it up. Also, garage sales are a good option. You know, there's tons of great organizations that I could spend forever telling you about, but there's great organizations that you can donate things to. But let it sink in when you start to see the clutter, and let that kind of burn a hole in your heart a little bit about the way you're spending money. If you find yourself like I did, there were so many things. And so we did all of that. And then you can go back to your space and say, okay, I haven't spent any money on boxes or bins. I only own like my favorites and the necessary, the needed, the useful. And so now how am I going to organize that, right? I'm a big believer, like I said, in very large boxes and bins. I'll also, I love things that are clear that you can see into, so you know what they are. I don't do like a ton of labeling because I kind of switch things around a lot. And sometimes like you learn as you go and you kind of, you know, you'll switch things around. So I don't do a lot of labeling. I also don't do a lot of like color coding. I mean, I've seen some pantries that are amazing, right? You guys have seen them all on Instagram. You see all the beautiful pantries and closets and playrooms, and you're like, I want a color-coded Lego playroom. Let me tell you about a color-coded Lego playroom. As an overzealous organizer, when my son was 2, my oldest, he loved Legos. And I one day said, okay, I bought this thing. I can't remember where I got it. It was like this, we still have it. It's like this colorful bin organizer thing. And it had all these different, I think it has like 12 different boxes, and they're all kind of leaning. So, you know, it's an organizer. And he had all his Legos. And I was like, well, I really want a color-coded Lego situation here. And if I color code all of his Legos, then we'll be very organized. And playtime will be great, and he'll be super happy, and it'll be easy cleanup because color coding is easy, right? So that lasted about 2 minutes until he dumped them all out into a giant pile, and I realized it was going to take me 16 hours to unseparate them all again. So avoid the pitfalls of over-organization, okay? I see all the pretty pantries, I see all the pretty closets, I see all the color-coded playrooms, and you have to think about what works for your family. For my family, it does not work. My pantry has a couple little boxes and bin things going on, but like lots of big boxes and bins. Like, for instance, our shoes. We have shoe baskets. I have one for each kid. They are not stacked or organized in any particular way. All the shoes get thrown in, all the socks get thrown in. And it's awesome because each kid has their own bin, and it's organized and it's off the floor, but it's not over-organized to the point of like when I go to put shoes away, I have to, you know, rearrange and tuck and open lids and do all the things. That stuff doesn't work for me, and so I personally don't recommend it. Take inspiration from those, and if it does work from your family, then by all means, go get you a label maker. But for me, it just doesn't work. So I really should take this camera and like go show you around our house. Maybe one day I'll do a little home tour. I always say my house is about 80% clean, just because there's kids that live here, and the idea of my house looking like magazine worthy every day is not realistic. So be realistic with your organizing. Think about what works for you and your family, especially if you're organizing with little ones. Okay, I see lots of questions. Thank you so much. I have a couple notes over here. I'm gonna make sure I got them all, and then I'm going to address those. So we talked about big baskets and bins, not as catch-alls. Like, you do not need a basket to catch all the things in your living room. You need a basket for blankets, okay? And then maybe you need another basket for shoes, or you need a basket in your bathroom for hair products, okay? It's corralling is what we're doing. We're not over organizing, we're just corralling all the things where they go, right? Store like items alike, store like items together. And I also think you should store things where they go. So, or where they go, where you use them. So like if you have a junk drawer in your kitchen full of nail files and hair ties and chapstick and pencils and stamps and toys, like little toys, you don't use all those there, right? But you put them there because you think, well, what if I'm standing in the kitchen and I really need to file my nails? Nope. Put your nail stuff in the bathroom where it belongs. All the nail stuff together. Store your nail files with your nail polish in the bathroom, right? Store your stamps, your postage stamps, with the envelopes that you're going to use them with. Keep things that are used together. You don't need like random things in the kitchen because you might one day potentially need to paint your nails while cooking dinner. Okay. What else? We talked about this is a marathon, not a sprint. So I think that's super important. Oh, here's a good one. This is important. So I studied a lot of things, a lot of different concepts as I wrote the book. I studied lots of different organizing books. I studied lots of different organizing concepts, everything from like super organized to very loosely organized. I studied minimalism, and even for a minute was like, this is interesting, until I realized how extreme it is. And it works for some people, it does not work for me. Particularly, I stood in my closet and thought, maybe I should do a capsule wardrobe. And then I thought, no, I really like stripes and colors and lots of options. So I really love the idea of a semi-capsule wardrobe, which is the looser version of a capsule wardrobe. So we'll talk about that stuff when we do the style one. But remember that the idea here is not to be extreme or anything like that. The idea here is to organize so that your home feels like a place of rest, so it feels calm, so that the day goes smoother, so the day is easier. And as you walk around your house, after you've cleared out all the clutter, and you walk through your house and you think like, ooh, that shelf is empty now. Weird, I should buy something to put on it. No, don't do it, okay? Because that empty shelf, you may have an empty shelf in your living room, but then when you're cleaning out your attic, you may find, I mentioned this in Grace Not Perfection, you may find your grandmother's treasured recipe tin and might think like, that should be on display, like in my living room. It makes me so happy every time I look at it. So I'm gonna put it right there in that empty shelf. You may have things in your home that you can fill those empty shelves with. You don't need to go out and buy all kinds of cute stuff to redecorate, unless you get to the end and you decide that that's something you wanna do. All right, I think that's everything. Talked about over-organizing. Yeah. Now, one of the things that we haven't necessarily talked about that I do want to address before we take some questions, one of the things is when it comes to routines. So I could almost do a whole nother Facebook Live about routines. We have a lot of routines in our family, and I call them routines and not like necessarily systems or traditions because they aren't that rigid. They're just kind of flexible, and they're there to kind of alleviate the pain points. Yeah. Hey, Hannah and Dusty, you guys are awesome, and you're both sending me questions. I got Hannah's are up first, just to my team. I'll take them off of Hannah's. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. You guys are so sweet. I was like, oh my goodness, there's like 70,000 questions, and it's because you guys are both sending it to me. I work with the best people in the world. So routines, like to alleviate the pain points, right? So for instance, this morning I was getting in the car with my twins to go to school, and they always kind of start to fight and fuss over backpacks. Okay, so their backpacks have these little buckles that buckle right here, and every morning when I hand them their backpacks in the kitchen, I try not to hand them their backpacks. I try to carry them to the car, but when I hand them their backpacks, they want to buckle the buckle. Well, they don't want mom to buckle the buckle. They want to buckle the buckle, and it takes 10 minutes to buckle the buckle, and it's a fight. It just is like high tension. You know how it gets in the mornings when we're trying to get out the door. So I told my husband this morning, I was like, all right, you know what I think I need to do? I think like to avoid that whole situation, I think I need to take the backpacks and the lunch boxes when they need them and take them to the car before they realize they're walking out the door and just set them in the front seat. They won't know. If I don't show them to them, they won't know about the backpacks. They will just get in the car and then we'll alleviate that. So there's like a new routine, okay? So I'm taking the lunch boxes and backpacks and I'm putting them in the car before they get in to avoid that meltdown. We have a lot of things in our family we do like that. Like every night after the kids go to bed, my husband and I walk around the house with a laundry basket. And you've heard me say this before. We grab all the stuff that's out of place and we dump it in the laundry basket and then we dump it on the couch and then we put it away. It's easier than going like this all around the house, trying to find all the things that are out of place and like put this one away and then grab this thing and then put this one away and back and forth and back and forth. So yeah, so that's kind of what we do. What are some other routines? When after the kids go to bed, another thing we do is we make lunches together. Brian always makes the sandwiches and I make the sides. I prep everything on Sundays, so all the stuff is cut up and in these little Snapware containers that I keep in my refrigerator. It just kind of makes making lunch a little bit easier. I've always been the kind of person that looked at most of life and thought, does it really have to be this complicated? And so that's where a lot of this comes from. Goodness, there's so many more routines that I could talk through, but I think we would sit here for 2 hours. So I'll try to address those later on. But Hannah, I'm going to start with your questions, and then if there are any that maybe Dusty grabbed that I missed, I'll hop over to Dusty's text next. So how do you handle little people who are attached to everything in their room? Oh, let me tell you, I have them. 3 of them. All 3 of my kids are very attached to a lot of things. Like when my twins wake up every morning, they want to bring everything from their room downstairs, which is a pain, if we're being honest. So they are allowed to bring down 1 or 2 things, their blanket and their favorite animal every morning, and we bring it downstairs, and then I just truck it back upstairs. We just have to kind of like implement that with them. When it comes to throwing, like getting rid of things, you can remove things from their room when they're not around that they won't notice, I promise you. Tyler, especially when I put him down for a nap, he likes to play and he will go get every toy in his room and put it in his bed. Like you will walk in that child's room and he will have a fire truck, 75 animals, and all the magnet tiles in his bed with him. And he will not have napped because he's been playing with them. So we would very slowly kind of like remove things from his room gradually until it got to be that there was less and less in his room at nap time for him to play with. And they really don't notice. And they really don't need all that stuff. I mean, Simplicity Parenting, if you want to read about toys, was such a great book, and I highly recommend it. Okay, do you keep all seasons hanging in your closet, or do you separate clothing by season? I have a bigger closet in this house than I've ever had. So at my old house, I kept like the current season in the closet, and then the winter season, which lasts like 5 minutes in South Florida, I kept that under my bed or in the hall closet. Here, my closet's a little bit bigger, so I keep it all in one place. And I just kind of have like what I mostly wear, like jeans and tops, kind of like front and center. And I set like in my closet, I separate by sleeve length. So I don't necessarily do like the color coding. Again, over organizing. I can't do it. The color rainbow thing is super cute in pictures, but when I'm hanging up laundry, I don't have time to figure out the Roy G. Biv, you know? So it just all kind of goes in there. Short sleeve shirts go here. Long sleeve shirts go up high because I don't ever wear them. Dresses go over here. Maybe I'll take you in my closet later, but pants are hung up here, and then I have like shorts and drawers over here. Ideas for how to organize puzzles. Yes, I do have ideas for organizing puzzles because I just did it. So puzzles, I like the little clear plastic bins from the Container Store. The Container Store scares people a lot of times because you guys think they're crazy expensive. I always thought they were crazy expensive too, until I went into the Container Store and started looking at their shoe boxes. So they have shoe boxes and sweater boxes and all these other things. And they're $1. They're like $1.20, I think, the ones that I bought for my laundry room. So use some of those clear little containers and put the puzzle pieces inside, and then like write with a Sharpie. I actually have a bunch of puzzles for Brady that are in Ziploc bags. And they were great. They're in Ziploc bags. They lay flat. We put them inside. We have an Expedit. Do you remember the old Expedit from IKEA? It's called something else now. we put all of those inside a little cubby, just little plastic bags. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. It just all goes, you know, in one place. Okay. Let me see. How do you get your husband on board? Well, I think people always think like Brian is my like alter ego, and he might actually be my alter ego. He's like exactly like me in all the ways, and he's not. He's actually very opposite for me. I think that's why we're so compatible. He was very organized when I met him, but not to the extent that I necessarily am, or that we need to be with kids. And so he's great. I mean, he just goes along with it, and I think he sees the fruit of it too. Like, he sees how calmer the mornings are when the meals are made the night before. He sees how getting the kids dressed is easier when their clothes are laid out the night before, and that kind of stuff. Now, does he still own 465 SAE t-shirts? He was in a fraternity in college. Yes. You know what? You pick your battles, right? Okay, tips for organizing when you have no storage in your apartment. Oh, I gotta go back. So, husband, when I was organizing our home and like doing this huge declutter, my big simplicity project earlier this year, I did bust out all his stuff, like his keepsakes, his old stuff. And I told him I was doing it, so he wasn't like, whoa. I got it all out and sorted it all for him. And I started pulling things and put them in a pile in our room to say, what do you want to do with these? Like, I know there are things you want to keep, so here they all are over here, and I'll organize them. But some of this stuff I don't know. Like, is there a reason you have an alarm clock from 6 years ago with no battery back on it? Who knows? So I let him go through all of those things and tell me what he wanted to do with them. I don't try to push my organizing on him. That's not healthy. But it works, and he's great. Okay, tips for organizing when you have no storage in your apartment. I may have to have a little more context on that one. So it depends on what you're organizing. No matter how much storage you have, there are definitely ways to organize things. And if you don't have a ton of storage, I would get rid of a lot of stuff. Honestly, if you're living in a smaller space, less things is the answer. I always use this example, and I actually wrote about this in my last book. If you go into your closet and you want to organize your shoes, you have 17 pairs of flip-flops, and you think, I need the most fancy shoe organizer around. And y'all, there's a ton of them. So you go out and you buy a fancy shoe organizer, and you bring it home, you put it together, and you organize your 17 pairs of flip-flops. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, my closet is a disaster again. It's not your lack of a great shoe organizer that's the problem. It was your 17 pairs of flip-flops. So a lot of times it's not the lack of an organizational tool that's the issue. It's the overabundance of stuff. So if you're in a smaller space, less stuff, I believe, is really and truly the answer. And even if you're in a bigger space, it's still stuff. Physical clutter is mental clutter, 100%. What do you do with kids' artwork? I have this concept from Ashley Prophet, a friend of mine who has lots of little ones. And what she does is when her kids bring home artwork, she has this like 3-tiered thing in her, I don't know where she keeps hers, but I use the same thing. I have this 3-tiered like mail organizer that I bought ages ago. It was one of those things that I was going to get rid of, that when I found it, I thought, oh, maybe this is the answer. I can use Ashley's concept with the kids' artwork. So we hung it in our laundry room, and each one got a name. And when the kids bring home artwork, we put it in the box. And, we look at it, we admire it. If it's something awesome, we put it on, we have these 3 boards, like pin boards in our kitchen. Each kid has one, and we put up their favorite things on there that they can display and like let everyone see. But everything goes in there. As things are rotated off the boards, they go in those little boxes. And then at the end of the year, I take, if you scroll back on my Instagram, you can see it, but I take pictures with my phone of each piece and print out a little chapbook. Actually, they're actually over there, or they were right there. I may have moved them. No, hang on. Hang on, guys. This is live. I'm going to show you though. So these are from chapbooks. Sorry, y'all. Okay, these are from chapbooks, and each kiddo gets one, and I just print out pictures. It's just a little book, and they're great. And you keep them forever. And Yay. So what I do is anything that has a handprint on it or that's like super, super special like that and kind of time-stamped, I keep it, and everything else I get rid of. But everything gets a photo and gets put in these really cute little books, and then we kind of have it forever. How do you organize baby items you want to keep for the next baby? Well, there will be no more babies in my house, but I am saving baby items for others in our family and friends. So when my kids outgrow something, when Brady outgrows something, I have a big bin, big boxes and bins. This is the next product we're going to start making. We have a big bin. It's from Target. It's like fabric. I don't know. It's just a big fabric bin. It's in his closet. Anything he outgrows, I throw it in there. I don't fold it. I don't do any of that. I just throw it in. And then one day when I have time, I go in and I wash them all, and then I fold them up and I put them in their little Rubbermaid box in Tyler's closet, waiting for Tyler to grow into them. When Tyler and Caroline outgrow things, I should take you upstairs and show you what I do. I take their clothes and I dump them on the floor in their closet in a basket. That's it. They just go in a basket. I don't fold them. I don't mess with them. They just go in a basket. And then again, eventually I will go through them, and anything that is like a favorite or something super special, I will take out and put, same for Brady, I'll take it out and put it in their little treasure boxes. I have a treasure box for each kid, and it's stuff I'm going to give to them when they're older. Anything that I want to save for, my brother one day or somebody like that with the babies, I will put those in more Tupperware boxes. So Tyler's closet is full of Tupperware boxes, and so is Caroline's, because it's a lot of their stuff that's going to be given away. So I hope that's helpful. How do you organize your shoes? My closet, I have this little thing that's like flat shelves, and I just stack the shoes up. Not a big shoe person though, so I don't have a ton of shoes. What do you do with things that were gifts from family members, etc.? Well, if we're referring to like how do you declutter stuff, if it's like a gift from a family member and it's associated with some like, I should probably keep this. If you love it, or if there's some reason that you need to keep it, if it's an heirloom, if it's super special like that, then keep it. I have my own little treasure boxes that belong to me, and they're tucked away in my closet, and they have stuff from high school and college and pictures and things like that. If it's something you're holding on to just because you feel guilty of getting rid of it, get rid of it. Seriously. So writing a simplified life was really fun because I got to give you some tough love. Got to get rid of it. You got to rip the Band-Aid. I'll tell you like my mom told me, you just got to throw it away. Give it away. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys have so many questions. This is so fun. All right, let's keep going. Can you go through things in the evenings, or is it better to wait for a long weekend? If you mean like decluttering, you totally have to do what works for you. So if what works for you is going through things in the evenings or on the, in kind of the in-between moments, then do that. If it's on the weekends, then do that. You don't necessarily have to take a week off from work to simplify your home. And it's not going to be something that you're going to be like, we go from point A to point B and we're finished and we wrap it up and put it away. It's going to be something continually because stuff is going to keep coming into your house and you're going to keep outgrowing things and stuff like that. So there's like a big clean out that happens in the beginning. And then there's this gradual, it's like anything. You just have to develop the habit. Okay, any suggestions for what to do with your mail? I want to see it, but don't want it all over my counter. So the way I handle mail is I go out to the mailbox and I get it, or my husband gets it, and we bring it inside, and it either goes on my desk because it needs my attention, or it gets thrown in the trash can. I don't keep catalogs. I don't keep anything unless I need to like pay it or save it or thank someone or something like that. It comes in my office and goes on my desk if I need to do something with it. Otherwise, it gets thrown away into the recycling. Okay, how do you decide which room to tackle first? So I'm a little ambitious, and I like to tackle the hardest room first. And that's why I put Simplifying Your Home as chapter 1 in this book, because it is a beast, am I right? But it's also one that, somebody's knocking on my door. But it's also something that once you tackle it, it will make a huge difference in the rest of your life. So I highly suggest just diving in. Like if there is a certain room in your house that feels really overwhelming, give yourself the confidence of tackling it and getting it done to take you through the rest of your home. Are you ready in the mornings before the kids, or do you have your routine after they're at school? So our mornings, one routine we got into really well when Brady started kindergarten was I wake Brady up in the mornings at 6:30, and then I get him ready. I have like my time with just him, which is special, especially with the little ones, and they're asleep at this time. So Brady and I spend the morning together, and I get him ready and fed and his everything packed and him ready to go. And then Brian takes over with Brady from there. And then I get the little ones up. So it used to be that I got up before everyone, and that's ideal for me. I like waking up before everyone. Lately, I've had a lot going on, and so I've been just cherishing those last few minutes of sleep until 6:30. And I've been getting ready after everybody's out of here. So it changes. I mean, I'm the type of person that I like to say, this is, my one size fits all for life, and here's my routine, and I'm going to do it forever. But it doesn't work that way. My life situation changes all the time with work and my kids. And, as much as I would like to say, like, here's my routine and I'm married to it, it doesn't work that way. So I say, here's my routine for now, and it's really working, and I'll try my hardest to make it work. But I'll be flexible, if the kids' schedules change or something like that. And it works. So you just have to prioritize those things, like getting ready in the morning. I prioritize that, even if I'm just wearing gym clothes. Okay. As a working mom, how do you find time to organize without sacrificing time with your children? This is hard. Nap time. My twins nap, and Brady has quiet time every day that he's not at school. So I take that time to do any kind of stuff like this, but I've also gotten them involved. Yes, it gets a little chaotic with little ones running around when you're trying to organize the laundry room, but they love having jobs, and sometimes I'll get them jobs to be in the middle of it. I also want them to see me doing these things. I want them to know that this is part of being part of a family and you having a role in it, even if it's putting all the socks in the sock basket. I want them to see that. I want them to appreciate that. I want them to be part of it. I don't want them to think like, Mom organized and cleaned the house while we went out and played every day. Yes, of course they have playtime, but like I like for them to be part of it too. So I hope that helps. Okay. How do you organize photos? I have a bunch of boxes in my closet that I put like printed photos in, and then I use Dropbox on my computer, and I organize them. The file names are like year, and then whatever it is. So it's like 2017. If it's a professional photographer, I have them. And then after that, it's what it was. If it's just pictures I took, then I have that way too. I'm not good about getting them off my phone, just like anybody. But what I do is at the end of the year, I take those photos from the whole year, and I take the photos, my favorite photos off my phone from that year, and I put them into a really nice hardbound, hard page book from Artifact Uprising. And it's pricey. It's a couple $100. I can't remember. I think it's like $200, maybe more. But it's worth every penny because all those photos get to live in a place. And we have like a collection now. I'll post a photo later, but we have a collection now of hardbound, linen covered, hard page books, including our wedding album. That's one of them. That I think will be like a legacy one day, Where do you lay out the kids' clothes for the next day? I haven't been very good about laying out the twins' clothes, but I'm really good about laying out Brady's clothes because he gets himself dressed. So with Brady, I lay out all of his clothes for 5 days. I lay them out on he has like a wide dresser, and I lay them out up top with everything he needs to get himself dressed in the morning, and he does. He gets himself fully dressed, shoes, socks, everything. And again, every single second that you can save yourself in terms of the decision-making process or prep or executing anything, well, those seconds are going to add up to minutes at the end of the day or the beginning of the day that you get for yourself. It's like money in the bank, right? So look at every part of your life, every complicated scenario, every routine that isn't working, every pain point, like the backpacks with my twins. It's a pain point. How can you alleviate it? And it might be a really, really, really easy fix that'll give you a lot of time back. Let's see. How do you organize Tupperware? I don't own any Tupperware, actually. We only have I have some long Pyrex, like casserole dish things, and I have some Pyrex bowls, and I have 4 stacking, what are they called? Snapware thingies. That's it. I don't really have any Tupperware. I just really don't use it. My mom, when she stores things in her fridge, she uses Ziplocs a lot, and I do too. Like if she's storing salad or cut up fruit or things like that, if my Snapware is dirty or something, I'll use a Ziploc. And it's like saves space too, right? Do you have a way to organize bags or backpacks? Yes, I have a mud rack thing in our kitchen. It's like this big. It's really small, but it's like in between the garage door and the kitchen. And it has hooks. And it only has 2 hooks, but I hang the twins' backpacks on one, and Brady's backpack and my purse goes on the other. And then their lunchboxes line up underneath it, and the shoe baskets are underneath. So, but if you don't have a thing like that, just go get you some command hooks. Those things are awesome. And put the command hooks on the wall by your front door and just give everything home. It doesn't have to be fancy at all. It can go right there. Okay. How big are the boards with the kids' artwork? 24 by 36. I only know this because someone just asked me this the other day. 24 by 36. They're cork boards that I bought on Amazon and framed with FrameBridge. And I love them. They're like one of my favorite things. How do you organize holiday decor? We have a little tiny room. We don't have an attic here. We have like a little tiny like storage room. It's where our air conditioner unit is. And that was one of the really hard rooms to declutter, but I did it. And our holiday stuff is in like 2 or 3, maybe 4, large Tupperware things. You know what I'm talking about, the large plastic bins. And same for our Halloween stuff. And I like to buy the color-coded ones. So you can go to Target and you can get like the red and green Christmas boxes, and they're cheap. They're like $6 or something. And you can get the orange and black Halloween ones. I haven't found any for Easter or anything like that, but those are color-coded. So basically you walk in, you know what's what. Okay. Any advice for a first-time mom trying to get the house clean and organized on a budget and 33 weeks pregnant? What should I prioritize? That is a great question. And I will tell you that, well, let me start with this. There are seasons of life to dig in and organize and put lots of structure in and, get baskets and bins for all the things and declutter and do all that stuff. There are also times of life to hold on, to hunker on, to savor, to enjoy your family. And at 33 weeks pregnant, you should have your feet up. So, I don't know, maybe this isn't the time to organize and like super declutter, or maybe it is. Maybe you're nesting. I mean, I nested like crazy. Maybe you're nesting and you really want to get things ready before baby comes. So I would say start with decluttering. Don't feel like you have to completely organize or revamp anything in your home before baby comes. I would say just start with decluttering and do it little by little. My friend Laura Casey says this all the time. Little by little adds up, and it really, really, really does. You might not even be able to get a room done at a time. Get a drawer done at a time. Get a basket cleaned out. Just go place by place. Make yourself a list. There's actually a place in here in the book. This is a big chapter, so I have to find it. There's a place right here where we have like suggested spaces in your house, and it's a checklist for you to get started on. So maybe you'll find that helpful. It's page 11. As a twin mom, what's your best advice for keeping them on the same schedule? Just do it. I mean, my twins, when they were born, they were on a schedule. And they've been on the same schedule. I don't know that it works for all twins, but mine, we just made sure, like if one woke up to eat, we woke up the other one. If one was tired to go down, needed to go down for a nap, they all went down. How do you keep your car clean? Every time I go to the gas station to fill it up, I clean it out. We have like rubber mats in our car. They're not very like nice or fancy, but they clean really well. And so like you can just kind of wipe them down. So I'll use like shout wipes, or not shout wipes. I'll use like Clorox wipes and just wipe them down, or, shake them out at the gas station. It's really convenient to do that, by the way, because there's like a giant trash can right there within walking distance. And if you get lucky at one of those gas stations with the clickers, it clicks and it'll put your gas in. You don't have to hold it. Then you're good. What do you keep under your kitchen sink? How do you organize cleaning supplies? I'm going to take this last question and one more that I saw, and then any more questions, save them and I'll try to get to them next week. Or I'll try to come on and post them later because I have a team meeting here in like 1 minute. What do you keep under your kitchen sink and how do you organize cleaning supplies? Under my sink, I don't just a couple of random things like Clorox wipes and counter spray and Windex and dishwasher pods and dishwashing soap and trash bags. That's it. I like to take the trash bags out and put them in the bottom of the trash can and then put the bag on top of it so that when you take the bag out, you have trash bags inside. And you just open them up. I organize cleaning supplies. We have cabinets in our laundry room, which feel like the biggest luxury because in my old house, I did not have cabinets in my laundry room. So the cabinets in my laundry room get all the stuff. And I try to, like the BOGO sales at Publix or Costco or wherever, I try to stock up when those things happen and get the cleaning supplies we use and just have extras. So I stash them all in there. Okay. Oh my goodness, let me see. Oh my goodness, you guys, there are a ton of questions that I wasn't able to get to. Thank you for joining. And oh my goodness, I wish I had time to answer all these questions. There's so many good ones that I have ideas about and I'd love to dig into, but join me next time. We are gonna keep digging in. And I wanted to say, I have homework for you. So this workshop is interactive. I don't want you to leave here and say, hey, that was fun listening to her talk about organizing for an hour. I want you to go home and dig in. So one of my favorite parts of A Simplified Life is that at the end of every chapter, hold on, let me find it. This is a long chapter, so, okay. Somebody was asking me about cleaning supplies. This is actually the top of one of our little closets. But at the end of every chapter, we give you a simplicity challenge, which you may have heard of. So 5 steps to simplify your space right now. And we give you 5 tips of things to do where you can simplify your home right away. And I want you to remember too that even though some of this stuff may feel mundane, okay, like creating a routine for backpacks in the mornings is not glamorous at all, but it's something that makes our lives run smoother. If my kids can get to school without fussing in the morning or, you know, getting into it, then they're going to have a better day at school. So for me to implement a backpack routine, it's not just me being overorganized. It's that they're going to be happier at school. They're going to have a better day. I'm going to have a better day. And so I would try to frame this in the sense of homemaking and think about what you can do in your home. Obviously, decluttering is a big part of it, but think about what you can do in your home to declutter quickly, to really dive into that process, and to alleviate the pain points. So only 2 pieces of homework for you this week. One of them is to declutter something, okay? And I'm going to ask you next week how you did. I want to know what you decluttered. I want to know how it went. Remember, empty it. If it's a drawer, empty it. If it's a room, good for you, empty it. If it's a closet, take everything out. And then as you start to put things back in, evaluate every single thing. No stone goes unturned. Like, look at every single thing and make a decision about it. And you're not just doing this for pretty pictures or to tell me that you did it. You're doing it because it matters. Because what happens inside the walls of your home is important, especially in a world where there's a lot going on outside. Okay? So thank you guys for joining me. We'll be back next week with more fun. And go and pre-order A Simplified Life. Thank you guys for your support of the book, by the way. It's blown me away so much how many of you have been pre-ordering and sharing on social media and telling all your friends about it. So I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. Bye.